the right products with the right plan and the right person that's going to lead us down the road of how to maximize this core challenge is my good friend and the guy that I love getting my man hugs from, Mr. Mark Hunky McDonald. Mr. McDonald, are you there, sir?
I am here, Mr. Jones. Stevie, I love hearing your voice. So everyone, welcome to our week 4 kickoff of our core challenge. I love how each coaching session and each webinar is designed for us to consistently look at how we can build off all of this, how we can make this work as one. So we started off week 1 as our detox. So you lose your bloat, you're going to cut, you clean, you flush. Then week 2, we dove into the ignite phase, where you really looked at burning, sculpting, and restoring, and learning how to make these next 7 weeks rock. And then last week, we talked about how to love your food, how to diversify that food and make it enjoyable, because if you don't enjoy your food, eventually you're going to quit. And then looked at how to make your exercise fun. So you're supposed to do a new recipe and bring in new foods this past week, and then add new exercises, new fat-burning cardio, high-intensity cardio and strength training, and then look at new payoffs. Rather than food and alcohol, new things that give you that escape. Well, that's the first 3 weeks. The goal of this whole series is to build upon it each and every week. So you build that momentum. And that's what this week's going to be about. We are diving into your mobile readiness food kit, which I call your MRFK, your restaurant strategies, and how to optimize your grocery shopping. But before that, I want everyone, as I sitting on chatting with people before I jumped on, and Steve referenced Jody Stevens down 36 pounds. I said 33. She corrected me. And I see all these names, and Charlotte Gray, and Damian Wright, and Celeste Walker, and Bill and Barb Matthew. When I see these, and Alice and Brad Marquez, when we see this, the whole goal here is for each of us to become our very best. Steve shared how his goals are going to be different than his amazing wife Lucy's. And that's what this is. It's about the transformation starting with you. I thought about my wife, Abby, who many of you might know, don't know. Abby suffered an injury. She was an actress in California. She had an injury. She had fibromyalgia. And for 10 plus years, she was in SAG and she stopped acting. What I love is she's getting her acting bug back. We have a studio in our house, and she was just texting me. She was at Best Buy, and she's buying new stuff to get ready to submit her audition. So she's back in the game. And the reason I bring that up with you is because of the passion. Each and every one of you are making your time on a Tuesday evening to be on this webinar. And because you have a passion in your life to be your very best. And what is your life without your body, without your health? So when I look at Abby living her passion, starting to get back in the acting field, when I look at myself living my passion, when making my health work, but also joining a soccer team and playing tennis and making my health work, that's what this is all about. So I want everyone to take a moment and think about, what is your passion in life? And how is making your health and rocking these next 8 weeks make it that much better? Think about that. Just spend 5 seconds thinking about that. And that's going to be the first question I'm going to ask yourself. What is your passion? And how is making your health that much better by living that passion? Now that leads me to my dear friends Kelly and Mark Timmerman. Kelly Timmerman, they live in Des Moines, Iowa, and they just finished their 8-week run. And many of you are on week 4, because that's what we're talking about, week 4. Many of you have done an 8-week run. Some of you might just be starting your detox phase, and that's why when you go to the website, Core8, you can look at the recorded versions. But Kelly Timmerman's a cancer survivor. And Kelly herself made a stand. She's a phenomenal health professional. She's a cancer survivor. She's had over 100 people in Des Moines, Iowa live this with her. But after her 8 weeks, I saw her pictures. She posted them today. She's down 16.8 pounds. She's down 6% body fat, and she's down 13 inches. But when Kelly was our first Fitspiration on my headline news, 8 weeks, new body, new life series. And what she talked about as her proudest moment wasn't about the impact that she's made on herself, her kids, and everyone else she's touched. It's that for the first time, her husband, Mark, was engaged in the process. I met Mark about a year and a half ago, and we went to dinner, and he said, Mark, I got to make my health work. I said, let's do it. And it took him a while, and he wasn't, he wanted to do it, but he didn't make it happen. And then this 8-week challenge happened because of the easiness of the entry point. Mark seized the moment. And I saw his pictures today. And 8 weeks later, Mark's down 33 pounds and 18 inches. Transformation. So when I look at Kelly and Mark, I think about the passion that we all have inside of us. When I look at a Jody Stevens down 36 pounds, I think of the passion. When I see my friend Celeste Walker, who could barely walk, and she made it across a 5K walking without a cane for the first time. That's what this is about. But as Stevie Jones mentioned, it's not just about weight loss. We all have different shapes and sizes. And on our grand finale, our series finale for our HLN series, we had Anna on, who was phenomenal. She was already 138 pounds. She looked incredible. You can go to the HLN Transformation Facebook page, see the clip of her. She was already 138. She was at 27% body fat. But in 8 weeks, she dropped that 10 pounds. That's what she wanted to do, those last 10 pounds. And she took her body from 27% body fat to 19% body fat. And then I see my friend Bill Murphy doing the exact same thing. Took his body fat to 10% body fat, dropped those last 10 pounds. And then a Bill Doblas, who on our show on Friday, he wasn't perfect with his 8-week plan. He struggled. He had off-plan meals. It wasn't his best run. But guess what? Stays the course. Still down 12 pounds. Still better off 8 weeks later than when he started. That's my invitation to everyone on this webinar tonight. That where you sit right now, whether you're starting your detox, whether you've done an 8-week, whether you're doing another one, whether you're sitting on week 4 with recovery now, the point is this. You have to make this your moment to consistently understand that as long as you're ahead of where you started, you are winning everything. That's the power of this. And by diving into the core community in the Facebook page, and by being part of that and sharing it and being inspiring each other, we root each other on to win and continue to dive into your tools, your PDFs, your recorded webinars to win with everything. Okay, so that's your inspiration for the moment. And focus on your passion and what drives that. Now, let's talk about content tonight. When we look at that, you're in your detox phase right now, or you did your detox. You're in your Ignite, but you're in week 4 of your Ignite. And now, you're on the go probably more. You have to start looking at, well, what happens when I'm on the go? You've probably been stuck to the moment where you pushed a meal too long and you're probably a little hungry. Probably had those food shopping shakedown moments in the grocery store. And you've probably had to eat out a little bit. Well, the hardest thing is how do you take a slammed life and make healthy food part of it? I get it, guys. I understand how difficult it is. And what this purpose of this coaching series is not just to set you up for a moment, not just to win for 8 weeks, but to take it beyond the 8 weeks. So the focus this week is really teaching you how to master your food in the 3 most challenging things. First thing we're going to talk about is creating your mobile readiness food kit, which I call your MRFK. The second thing is I'm going to share my top 3 tips to mastering your grocery shopping. And then I'm going to share my top strategies to ordering in restaurants. Now, when we talk about the grocery shopping and the ordering in restaurants, we actually did a field trip, Mike Alanos and I did on our HLN show. So if you actually, after this webinar, if you want to check that out, you can go to my website, markmcdonald.tv, so not .com, but markmcdonald.tv, click on the nutrition tab, and you'll see those segments of me and Mike shopping in the grocery store and in the restaurants. And I'm going to be covering the exact same information, so you're going to go from the webinar to a video content, so that's a great reference point for you. Okay, so let's dive into your MRFK. I want everyone to think about when does it happen? Maybe you're in the car. Maybe you're late for work. You skipped breakfast. You had that taxi service syndrome where you're picking up your kids and you're scrambling, trying to shuttle them places, and you feel like, man, where's my food? And your blood sugar drops too low. You get too hungry, and that's when those munchies kick in. That's when you want those carbohydrates. Well, the biggest thing is if you don't have an MRFK, then you're going to be set up to lose. It's easy when you're at home and you have your shakes available, you have your regular food, and you have this system and this rhythm. But when you're on the go, whether you're at an airport, whether you're in your car, whether you're going to a meeting, whether you're on a road trip, whatever it is, whether you're on vacation, is your MRFK is something that sets you up to win consistently. And I want you to think about just like your car. In your car, you have a roadside emergency kit, or most of us, we should have one. And what are some staples in that? You got some jumper cables in there. You typically have maybe a flashlight in there. You have some reflectors in there. Maybe you have some like a tire repair kit in there. There's certain core essentials to a roadside emergency kit in your car. Well, your emergency kit for your food to keep your body stable is your MRFK. And we know that the moment you skip a meal, the moment that you get too hungry, your blood sugar drops, it makes you burn muscle, and then it makes you overeat, which makes you store fat. So these are the core essentials. So I'm going to walk through what you should be having consistently. Now let's talk about your tools first. So the first step is you need a high quality cooler. Now you can go, there's a great cooler called 6-Pack, which is deluxe cooler. I go to Costco, and they have these great coolers that are expandable, and I buy 5 of them. And Stevie Jones has seen them. If you see me, wherever I go, if you see me, I have a backpack and I have a cooler with me. Now, many of you might say, Mark, I don't want to look like I'm a food freak, and I put freak in quotes there. And I don't blame you. I'm not that way either. When I was fitness modeling years ago, I'd have all my foods in Tupperware, and I'd have 6 meals packed. And I'm not asking any of you to do that. What I'm looking at is finding quick grab-to-go foods, and you need a cooler so that you have a place for it to go. And you just don't want one cooler. If you only have one cooler, the moment that gets a little nasty, or if food spills over to it, you don't want to use it. And then what happens? You don't have a cooler. So you get a couple of it. So you have some backup. You need some reusable ice packs. Now, this has happened to me many times, and maybe it's happened to you as well, that when I'd have an ice pack and I would forget to put it in the freezer, then the next day I have no ice pack. And then I'd get a little baggie out, I'd get some ice from my freezer, and then the ice would leak all over all my food, and I wouldn't want to eat it. That's why you use reusable ice packs. And you want to get multiple. Get a week's supply, have them in your freezer, and make sure that they're always, you have one for that next day if you forget to put it away. You need Tupperware and airtight sandwich baggies. Now what I love with the core protein powder is I take my airtight Ziploc bags and I just put shakes in there. And then I have Tupperware for my fruits, for my nuts, things like that. So once again, you want quality. So before we even get to the food, you got to have the right tools. Then you look at your water bottle and a shaker bottle. Now the shaker bottle I love is a blender bottle. I have one right here on my desk right now. I use it for water. I use it for a shake. It comes with a little metal thing that breaks everything up in the container, but it has a cool little cap that you can open up. It screws on. It's designed pretty. It's got a clip, so I can get a little clip and clip it onto my backpack. So I have a blender bottle as my shaker, and then the water bottle I recommend is Camelback because it's leak proof. You know, when being a dad, nothing's worse than my son having a bottle and then he spills water in the car. Or myself, when I used to have a gallon of water, I'd have a gallon of water and it'd have a little leak in it. And then there'd be water all over my floor. So I do Camelback now. It's EPA, so it doesn't have, it's got the right quality plastic. And then in addition, it's got a leak proof. So make sure you have a quality water bottle and shaker bottle. And then the fifth thing are your favorite grab and go foods. Now this would be my suggestion to you. You want to have your staples. Staples to me, every MRFK, I have multiple coolers. I have 3 MRFKs set to go. I have a couple protein powder Ziploc baggies. I have a couple protein bars in them. I have some nuts in it. I have dry goods that are always in my MRFK. So if I'm in a gym, I have some ready to drink, some Power Crunch ready to drink drinks there. So no matter what, let's say I have 10 seconds. I grab my cooler, I'm gone. I always have that ready. Now, what I do though is I give myself a couple minutes. I always have my ready-to-go items already in there, that don't need to be refrigerated. But then I simply take one of my ice packs, stick it in my cooler, and I grab some fresh fruit. I grab some fresh protein. I might grab some fresh fat, like some avocado, and I'll put it in my cooler. So my refrigerated items, I put in right before I leave, but I always have my non-perishable items in there. And if you can do this, you're set up to win. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, Mark, is this really that important? And what I want to share with you is that I've coached a lot of clients, and over a couple million people lived our plan, millions. And one of the core essentials to you winning is your MRFK. So I'm going to invite you this week is all about the first step is about you creating the right MRFK for you. Now, I love black. Black's my favorite color. So I have a black cooler. You know, it doesn't show dirt. Abby, black's not her favorite color. She likes purple and she likes red. So she has a different color cooler. Hunter loves orange. So he's got an orange cooler. So once again, make this your own. Right? The blender bottle I have right now is Hunter's bottle. It's orange. I love blender bottle because it's great for kids, it's great for ladies, it's great for men. Choose the colors you like, make it customized to you, make this part of the experience. Remember, this is not just 8 weeks. This is just like buying luggage. It's making sure that you're doing something that's going to set you up to win. So if you have an office and you buy a laptop or you buy a smartphone, make your MRFK that same level of importance because it sets you up to win. Okay, so that's creating your MRFK. You're set up with that. Now the next step is mastering your grocery shopping. Now I always love talking about grocery shopping. I just finished my book and we're in the rewrite phase now. And I had a chapter in that and I call it your food shopping shakedown. And whether you're a parent or not, you can understand this, that you know, when you walk into a grocery store, there's some core things that if you do incorrectly, you are struggling. The first one is this. If you're hungry, everything in that store looks great. And immediately, you're no longer able to think clearly, and you're going to be looking for other foods. You're going to be looking for all the carbohydrate foods, all the things that you should be searching for because you're mentally, because you're physically craving food, you can't psychologically control it. So never shopping hungry means never going in there very hungry in that state where you want to eat. This is why MRFK is so important. So if you're on the go, if you want to shop after work, if you want to shop in the morning, just make sure that you've had a meal an hour before. And if you guys have kids, make sure you're feeding them as well. Because nothing's worse than going to a grocery store hungry. We can all agree to that. Raise your hand in your room right now if you feel like when you go to a grocery store and you're hungry. You know, nothing's worse than that. The second thing is you have to have a plan. Now I want you to think about how a grocery store is set up. So imagine the last grocery store you entered. Most likely, when you walked into your right, it was going to be a produce section with your fruits and your veggies. And then there'll be a deli section near that. Then there'll be your raw nuts as well in that same section. Then the next thing is going to be your meats and your fishes. Then you'd move into your eggs and your dairy. So it kind of works like if you imagine a U, if you're drawing a U on a piece of paper, when you go to your right, that's really it. You have your fruits and your veggies. You then are going to have your meats. You're then going to have your eggs. You're then going to have your dairy. And that's really the outer part of the grocery store. And that's having a plan. So having a plan is knowing the layout of the store you shop in, and most of them have the exact same layout. It's knowing what you're going to buy. So going in with a list, what I love to do is I make a list of my favorite proteins, fats, carbohydrates, my free foods, everything that I need to get that's not going to last me for a month. Because if you buy too much, what happens? We've all been there before. You get on a health kick, you buy all this food, half of it goes bad, and you're, oh man, I'm wasting all this money. It's because you're buying too much. Make sure that you have a plan and you're buying the foods that you're going to eat that's going to last you for that week or for how many times you're going to shop. So a plan is making a list, having a weekly grocery shopping day or night. Maybe it's either Saturday or Sunday. And it's knowing the layout of the store, the blueprint of the store. And what I do is I go in there, I get my fruits and veggies first, then I get my raw nuts, then I get any meats I want, then I'll get my eggs, then I'll get any dairy. If you're going to have dairy, that's in your thrive phase. Right now we're avoiding that, but if you have kids, they may have the dairy. Then the next step for me is I may want my gluten-free or maybe want my higher quality complex carbohydrates. Quinoa, rice, brown rice pasta, fresh herbs, like Mrs. Dash or Peak Himalayan salt. So then I'll enter into the natural section of the store, almost every store. If you watch that video we did with HLN, it was in Walmart. Walmart has its own natural food section now, affordable and healthy food and organic. So you can find the healthy section in any food, buy all your complex carbs there, and then if there's any particular things you need in the other, I call it the war zone area, because you got to be careful when you go in the middle of the store. Then you can simply go in there, but you have a plan so you're not left walking aimlessly around. So you never shop hungry, you have a plan, and then this is a big one. You choose foods with 5 ingredients or less. I want you to think about an apple. It's got 1 ingredient. Picture chicken, just fresh chicken breast. one ingredient. So when you start looking at ingredients, you want to choose foods that have 5 or less ingredients. Ideally, one ingredient's the best. So that's when we talk about your detox phase and your ignite phase. The cleaner you eat, your actions must meet your expectations, meaning that your efforts must meet your goals. So the better results you want, the cleaner you eat. So when you're looking at a label, if it has 10 or 20 different ingredients, then that's not a good thing. When we were in the grocery shopping segment, Mike and I pulled up a Pop-Tart. It literally had 60 to 70 ingredients in it. That's a problem. So when you're shopping, you want to choose foods with 5 ingredients or less. That's going to be your least processed foods. So there you go. So number 1, MRFK. That's your setup to win. So your MRFK goes everywhere with you. Whether you're out on the town, whether you're going into a restaurant, whether you're traveling in air, wherever you are, you have your MRFK with you. It is essential for you. Then the next thing is, once you have your MRFK, you want to master your grocery shopping. You don't want to shop hungry. You want to have a plan, and you want to choose foods with 5 ingredients or less. And then the last thing for tonight is ordering in restaurants. After the Mint launch, where Stevie Jones did a phenomenal job. I mean, I loved Stevie and Brandon Carter. But we went to Cheesecake Factory. And Ryan and Ashley, Ryan came with me. They just had a baby. Ryan and I were there, and I'm going to share with you how we ordered. But Stevie, we got there, and I was pretty hungry, and we drove together, and there was a 50-minute wait. And right when we got there, we had to wait 50 minutes. Everyone came and joined us. And I saw Steve, because he didn't eat all day because of the event, he went to town a little bit. And that's okay, but I'm going to share with you that if you're going to go to town, what you would do, but if you want to eat on plan, how to avoid having to resist the bread like I had to do. Steve just put busted, totally busted. He had some cheesecake, I'll explain that. But that's what I had to do. I had to resist the temptation because I let my blood sugar get too low. So when you're looking at ordering in restaurants, is the first thing, just like grocery shopping, is you don't go hungry. Because when you go hungry, there's always going to be a wait wherever you are. So when you go there and there's a wait and you're starving and you sit down, the first thing you're reaching for is the bread. And once you reach for that bread, what happens? Spikes your blood sugar, makes you store fat. So make sure that you have something balanced before. Now, the second thing is you decide if you're on plan or off plan. Now look, in your Ignite phase, we're not doing off-plan meals yet. In your Thrive phase, that will be there. But some people are going to fall off plan in their Ignite phase. That's okay. Just get right back on plan. It's not if you fall off, it's when and how to get back on. The worst thing you can do is go into a restaurant with the intentions of eating well, let your blood sugar drop by being hungry, and then going off plan and then feeling guilty the next day. So never go hungry, and then decide, are you on plan or are you off plan? Once you make that decision, you then choose accordingly. Now let's say you're on plan. Then you want to choose your protein first. So when you look at a menu, you want to very systematically go through what's the protein you want. If you want salmon or beef, they already have fat in them. So you already have your protein and your fat. Well, then you just need to go right to your carbohydrate. Now let's say you want to have some salad dressing, some balsamic vinaigrette and oil on your salad. Well, then you wouldn't choose a protein that has fat in it. You would choose a leaner protein, like a halibut or chicken or some turkey breast that doesn't have fat in it, because the oil vinaigrette will be your fat. So you choose your protein first, and then based upon that, you then choose, do you need fat, and then do you need carbohydrates? And you follow your recommended portion sizes. Now the fourth thing is you're going to order all your sauces and dressings on the side, and you say no to oil. Now this is the biggest thing that clients come to me with. They'll tell me, say, Mark, I feel uncomfortable asking for different things. I feel like it makes me a little queasy, or if it makes them feel a little awkward. If that's you, I want you to ask yourself why. I want you to everyone to remember here that, look, when you go to a restaurant, you're the boss. You're choosing to go someplace and purchase food and pay gratuity. And if you're doing that, you should get the food you want. And their job as a restaurant is to prepare the food the way you want it prepared. And restaurants, what do they want? They want your business. So they want to help you. They want to cater to you. So you're not asking anything out of the ordinary. You're being what you need to say. So you want to order all your sauces and dressings on the side and say no to the oil. You don't want to add salt to it either. So most restaurants, they're in the business, once again, of making their food taste good. So they're going to add salt, they're going to add oil to it. So you want to get that on the side, and you want to say none of it on that. And then we don't have alcohol in the ignite phase, but if when in thrive phase you add alcohol, or you have a meal that's got excess fat, you're going to cut the grains out, like the brown rice and the quinoa, and the calorie-dense veggies like beans, and you would just do vegetables, like low-calorie vegetables like broccoli or asparagus. So for example, if I was going to have, let's say that you're going to have extra fat in a meal, or you had some wine with the dish, then you'd have salmon, which would be your protein and your fat if you're going to choose salmon. Then you would have some asparagus as your simple carbohydrate, your low-calorie one, and then you could simply add a little bit of wine, if you obviously not in your ignite phase, but in your thrive phase, or if you felt that meal had some excess fat, you just do salmon with some asparagus. This is how easy it is to order in a restaurant. Never go hungry. Decide if you're on plan or off plan. Choose your protein first, and then follow your recommended portion sizes. Order all sauces and dressings on the side. Say no to extra oil. Don't add the salt. And if you're going to have alcohol, cut the grains or calorie-dense veggies. Or if you feel that meal's got extra fat in it. Now, whenever I go to a restaurant, and this is a big thing, and Stevie saw this when we were in Utah for the launch of Mint and Core, I didn't even look at the menu. And on the video that you'll see on HLN, when you go to martinmcdonald.tv and you click on nutrition, you'll see the video. All I simply did is I asked the waitress, I asked the server, I said, do you have chicken? They said yes, because I love chicken. I said, okay, I'd like 2 chicken breasts, no oil, no salt. I said, do you have brown rice or sweet potatoes? They said they had brown rice. I said, okay, great, I'm going to have some brown rice. And then I said, can I get a salad? I said, yes. I go, what's on that salad? They said, cheese, some blue cheese crumbles. I said, none of that. I just like the salad with the veggies, and let me have some oil vinaigrette and balsamic vinegar on the side. So I had the balsamic vinegar and oil on my salad as my fat, and then I had my chicken as my protein, and I had a little bit of the brown rice following the size of my fist. And that was my meal: protein, fat, carbohydrates, eating in threes. Not even looking at the menu, because I knew what I needed. So this is my invitation to you. I get that as you live this plan, as you rock your 8 weeks, as you make this more and more, it can be a little bit more challenging. What's important to understand is that you've already detoxed your body. You've already ignited your metabolism. You understand why you're using the core products. You understand why you're implementing the boost. You're dove into the community. You're experimenting with the recipes. You're enjoying your food. You're diversifying your exercise. You're understanding different payoffs. And this week is very simple. We got to take it to the next level and set you up to win in real life scenarios. And for that to happen, you need your MRFK, which is your Mobile Readiness Food Kit. You have to have the right systems and strategies to grocery shop effectively, to maximize your time, and then you need to optimize how you order in restaurants. And remember, you are the boss. As we wrap this up, before I turn it back over to Stevie, I want to end with a story. 2 of my dear friends, one's a phenomenal health professional. I've known Mark Regan in Canada. I'm going to give a little Canadian shout out here. Mark Regan is a dear friend of mine. He's a high school teacher. He's a sports performance coach. Coaches top athletes for the States and Canada. And Mark's wife, Tracy, is a roller derby lady. I love that. But Tracy, she started her 8-week run about 9 weeks ago. And she provides some powerful information and powerful motivation in her posts. And she struggled with weight, and she struggled with body image challenges. But over this past 9 weeks, and as she made her 8-week run, I really got to know who she is. And she has touched me more than I could ever express. And to see her before and afters today, and see that she's down 24 pounds, 10.7% body fat, and 10 inches. And the new light in her, and how she really understands her body, and how in moments in the past where she would feel like she would have a tough week, and this is as we sit in week 4, she would have a tough moment, and she would want to quit in the past, and she would quit, and she'd go back to her bad habits. She's pushed through. And that's what I see with every single person living this. That you're going to have those tough days, but that's why we do these weekly coaching series. That's why you have the Facebook community. That's why you have the simplicity of the plan, and that's why it's important that each week builds upon the next. So just like Tracy Regan, has done this, has she's owned this, and she's dropped 24 pounds and almost 11% body fat and over 10 inches, as she's locked this and rocked this and taken her body to the next level, you can too, and you are. And it's understanding that you're going to have tough days. There are going to be challenging moments. But everything you're doing is building momentum to set you up to win. And when you do fall off, in case you do, you simply just get back on plan. Everybody, this is all about you drawing your line in the sand. We are rocking week 4. I want to make sure that all new registrations and all the past webinars, you simply go to www.corn8.com. You can download everything. Be part of the Facebook group.
Well, thank you very much. As always, Mark McDonald.